Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Let's Talk, the series where... This is your friendly neighborhood Birdman, and today we're talking about A Quiet Place Part 2. In case it wasn't obvious, A Quiet Place Part 2 is the sequel to the hit 2018 film. After a brief flashback to the events of Day 1, where the site-challenged aliens decimate a small New York town, the film picks up right where the previous film ended, with Emily Blunt killing one of the aliens and escaping the farm with her 3 children. After seeing one of the bonfires, the family decides to travel to the location of the bonfire seeking help, and they come across a reluctant family friend. Armed with the knowledge that her cochlear implant produces a feedback that can help them defeat the creatures, Regan sets off on a journey to produce this feedback on a larger scale so that humanity may turn the tide. Right off the bat, I'd like to say that I enjoyed this film. I also enjoyed this film less than the original. This flick really reminded me of the relationship between Alien and Aliens, and that the first film was a methodical, suspenseful tale about a group attempting to navigate their way through a hellish situation where the audience doesn't know exactly what's going on until the reveal. Like Alien. This film is much more like Aliens, where the creatures no longer scare you as much, mainly because they're shown so often and you already know what to expect from them. Also like Aliens, this film is much more action-packed, with more of the creatures attacking, and since they now know how to kill the creatures, well, you get the idea. The plot of this film is pretty straightforward. The family, now homeless, seeks refuge from one of the people lighting bonfires, which suggests they are alive, well, and safe. On the way there, someone gets hurt and now they have to split up. One party goes to find medical supplies, and the other sets off to weaponize their only defense against the aliens. The plot being simple is not a flaw, and in fact, there are some layers to the story. What matters here is the execution of this premise, and I think this film does a great job with these plot threads, at least up until the ending. The first Quiet Place was filled with tension and suspense, and this film is as well. It's just because there is no longer any mystery surrounding the aliens, you aren't exactly scared of them anymore, and they just become another movie monster. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Remember, Aliens is one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time. It just highlights the issue with trying to follow up a movie like The First Quiet Place. They're never going to get that intrigue back, so if that's what you're expecting going in, please be warned that this isn't what you're getting. One of the main reasons I enjoyed this movie was because of the characters. Pretty much everyone is smart, and goddamn, that is so refreshing in a horror film. The character work here is stellar, and this just shows the talent of John Krasinski to be able to craft a horror film, have your cast be smart and make rational decisions, and still be effective in what you're trying to do. Far too many horror films rely on their characters making dumb decisions in order for the plot to occur, and thankfully, that doesn't happen here. Everyone in this movie does a great job, including the people that were only briefly in the film. I was surprised that Emily Blunt somewhat takes a back seat. Although she is now the head of the family, she's not really the main character. Her daughter Regan and Cillian Murphy are at the forefront of this story, and they both shine. I love their interactions, mainly because Cillian can't understand sign language, so they have to figure out how to communicate with each other effectively, and this plot thread has a pretty cool payoff towards the end of the film. I'd like to mention that the beginning of this film is all-time great. It's pretty brief, but man, this is how you introduce your antagonists while not giving too much away. This sequence reminded me of the first film in that you're learning about the creatures and what makes them so dangerous. And this being Day 1, no one yet knows that sound is what triggers the creatures, so this allows John to craft a sequence that is not only harrowing, but seriously exciting. One area I'd like to criticize is the marketing surrounding this film. They sold this movie as the creatures not being the only threat in this world, and that people would play a role as antagonists, sort of like The Walking Dead, where the creatures are an ever-present threat, but humans are more dangerous. This movie isn't like that at all, and although I see a potential sequel exploring this concept further, don't go in expecting too much on this front. It's here, but it's half-baked and not well thought out. Just trust me on this one. Writing rapists and murderers into this world is a stupid idea for obvious reasons. Another thing I didn't care for was how this movie ended. I felt the ending, while cool, was extremely abrupt and jarring. Other than Avengers Endgame, I never look up the runtime of a film so that I can go in and let the film end where it ends. And at 1 hour and 30 minutes, this film feels much shorter than what it is because of the ending, and specifically, how it ends. I feel like most people will come away longing for more and feeling like they just watched a long advertisement for A Quiet Place 3, and that's never a good thing when you're trying to make a sequel to one of the best horror films of all time. B+. I highly recommend this movie. I had a great time watching these characters trying to survive this crazy situation, and Cillian Murphy really is a solid actor. The opening scene is really damn good, and because no one knows what's going on, you get a seriously fun sequence that is going to please fans of the original film. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode of Let's Talk. If you've seen this film, let me know what you thought of it in the comments section below. This has been your friendly neighborhood Birdman, and I'll catch you in the next one.